Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, desolates, spasms, vassals, targets, punching bags, victims, citizens. I'm a useful idiot, and today I want to do more of an editorial. A lot of times I try to bring a lot of information to the table, or at least some information, and do a report, but this is going to be more of an editorial. That's this whole concept of police brutality versus an evolving police sadism. And it just dawned on me recently because I was thinking about the fact that I grew up in an era when there was a lot of talk about police brutality in the middle to late 60s and the 70s. Well, there's already a lot of talk about corruption in the police force, and entire police forces were shaken to the ground back during that era, involved with drug crimes and certainly oppression of the people and a lot of violence. And so police brutality was something that's been in my vocabulary for some 45 some odd years. And so now we have all the events going on in America and around the world. And so not only do we get to take a close look at what's happening to the police in the United States, but we also get to compare and contrast globally, because it just seems to be we live in an era when every single country in the world has protesters out in the streets, and we're seeing how the police handle those situations. And that's one of the reasons why this new question about police sadism entered the picture, because we've seen outrageous police brutality, certainly all across the globe, with every single nation without exception, nearly without exception. And but recently I've seen videos of police who have laid down their arms and joined with protesters in Italy and in Thailand and in Ukraine. And also noticed at least a little bit of restraint in some of the other videos and clips that have been out there for the last 5 years. A lot of riots and protests that have been going on globally, coinciding with the last collapse. But let's just focus in on the United States right now, because the reason why I think we better take this a step further is because police brutality is almost too mundane in this day and age. We now have to talk about police sadism. The reason I say that, and part of the catalyst for wanting to talk about this, a recent case with Kelly Thomas, a homeless man who was beaten so severely it's almost hard to stomach even looking at pictures of him in his hospital bed. And for no apparent reason, there is video, for no apparent reason, 6 cops just choose to take him to the ground, cuff him, and then pummel him till his face is barely recognizable. And one of the policemen in the video is even caught saying, "Hey, welcome, let me introduce you to my fist, they're about to fuck you up." And then another video recently where it wasn't enough that the police had stopped this guy in a car, and certainly having to cut him off and cause a wreck to stop him, but then the windows only open a crack, and the policeman pushes a German Shepherd through the window of the car so he can get inside and start chewing on the driver. And then another video, and I'll attach these videos that I'm using for example below. Then there's another video recently where the policeman tasers this guy for 45 seconds. Seems a bit gratuitous. And so how do we differentiate? What is the scale? So we have police abuse, and then we have police brutality, and now we have police sadism. It's like they enjoy this. How come every time we're reading about a shooting now, it's not like anybody that the police shoot at are shot like once or twice, a warning shot or a wounding shot. It's like every single case they unload the clip in them. I did another video recently, I'll attach that below as well. The Cleveland police, over 100 police were involved in a chase, 60 cars, and they fired off 140 some odd rounds, and each of the bodies was recovered with 24 bullet wounds in them. Or the 13-year-old kid that was shot because he had a toy gun, and the policeman didn't just maim him and make him drop the gun, he unloaded his clip and shot him 6 times. And so this whole us and them attitude, it brings up this whole idea that the police complain about some sort of war on police in the U.S., and I beg to differ. I see the evidence of 500 people killed by the police every year, and certainly there's plenty of bad guys in there, but the brutality and the exceeding brutality of pure sadism, of wanting to unload your clip every time you pull your gun, pulling your gun at a moment's notice with little provocation, pushing a dog through a window so that he can chew up the driver, tasering someone for nearly a minute, and beating and pulverizing somebody's face that even his own mother wouldn't recognize him. So what leads to this? That's the next question. It can certainly be the badass archetype or idol that's created now in the police force, the kind of the whole post-RoboCop view, and then the militarization, of course. The police want to be badasses the way we have special forces be badass in the fields with foreign populations. And that brings up a good point, because in essence, the police force in the United States now is a domestic military to control the population and to make the population comply. It's not about obeying law or being a law-abiding citizen anymore. The domestic military force demands compliance at every turn, and that includes even looking at them, talking about them, filming them, and they treat the population of the United States not like the citizenry they're hired to protect, but they treat it like a foreign population under occupation, and therefore this adversarial badass attitude is created, and we have a police force that seems to be able to justify not just brutality but sadism in order to not only demand total compliance out of some sort of power tripping, but also the resultant violence that's unleashed seemingly on a hair trigger. And I brought that up in other videos as well, the combination of steroids and coffee and boredom and this them or us mentality. It all breeds something beyond brutality. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.